There's a good one. We'll start with him. This week we are fishing for sunfish. It's a nice little guy right there. And it's middle of January. It's kind of the dog days of winter. This is when walleyes are slow. Northerns are still fairly active, but you know, everybody's kind of looking for something to go out and catch. I mean, you go look, you talk around and people just are not doing that well on walleyes. One or two a night and that's it. And this is the time of year when panfish really get going good. And you can catch a lot of them. They do get a little finickier, so they can be kind of a pain to catch, but you can find them fairly easy, and you can get on big schools of them, which means you can catch quite a few. You just got to put your time in. And we're going to go over a few tips and tricks today on finding and catching midwinter sunfish. Too bad. That's bass. That's a little bonus this time of year. Alright. These guys are out here doing the same thing these sunfish are. And it's they're out here on soft bottom areas. Little guy, but a nice bonus. On these soft bottom areas, and they're eating like little bugs, little hatches coming up from this mud. They come out up in the wintertime like this, and there's even some mayfly hatches and just little invertebrates that come out of this mud. And that's one of the important parts about this. And you can look, I can show you a quick way to find soft bottom is on your depth finder. I got a few fish down here, and here's bottom. Usually the shorter your bottom is right here, the softer the bottom. But the easiest way is just to click your range up again, and there's no second return. Now if I was on a hard bottom, directly double this depth, so 9, so about 18 feet right in here, I'd have another mark that looks just like this bottom. And that would tell me that that's a hard bottom. It's rocks or sand or some kind of hard bottom. But I don't have that, so this is a soft, mud, sticky bottom. And that's a big key in finding these fish late in the year like this. One ain't real big, but it's sunfish. We switched up a little bit. We got this nice one. What I did is these fish are getting so finicky, you know, and I think part of it is it's such a clear lake. I mean, I can see bottom here, just about see bottom, and we're in 22, 23 feet. So what I did is I went to a very small jig with a tiny waxworm on it, and then I got this on 2-pound test, and then on my rod I have an add-on slip bobber right on the tip here, and this allows me to see the slightest little bit of a bite, because a lot of times these sunfish, you know, when my rod's sitting, I'll have a slight bend in it. Sometimes they'll hit it when they come up, and it'll just lift up, and you know you hit. Sometimes they'll just come in, and it'll just barely droop down a little bit. Either way, unless you have like a noodle rod, some noodle rods are sensitive enough to notice it, but they're a great add-on, and you should always have one with, just for those days where these fish are biting like this. Without it, you're going to be sitting there, and the guy next to you that has one's going to be catching all the fish. We're catching sunfish here, but I always like to put a minnow line down, just in case a random walleye or something comes through. I have no idea what hit this. We got a bass on it earlier. It might be another bass, could be a crappie, could be a walleye. But you just never know, so you want to keep... There, I got him. You just want to have a minnow line down. You can have 2 lines, so use them. It ain't a huge fish, but oh yeah, another bass, eh? There's a very good chance I wouldn't have caught that if I wouldn't have had that minnow line down. Nice little bonus fish. Nice little guy. Fish of the day. Boy, they are biting so light. Good one right there. These nice blues like this in the winter, they can be fun, but they can really get on your nerves sometimes. And downsizing your baits, paying attention to your Vexlar and your electronics, and finding those sticky bottom flats like that is going to increase your catches. And just pay attention, that's all you got to do. So you guys go out there, get some nice sunfish, some nice crappies, maybe a bass bonus, and have a good time. Take the kids out. So we'll see you next week. Have a good one. And this is a pretty simple system. I'm actually using shiner minnows from a couple days ago. They're dead, they stink, and what I'm doing is I can reuse this one. They're dead, don't matter. I'll use this one, and then I got some small fatheads that I got just to give it a little movement under there. It's not really the fathead itself that's making a bite, it's that smell, but they see that little bit of movement in there and they can't resist it. So there's a little better one. It's down in there. I'll keep pliers for him. Well, we kind of did with these tip-ups. You know, we're in the dog days of winter right now, and fishing gets tough for everything. So we're gonna just have some fun with some tip-ups, catch a few fish, and it's kind of a neat system I got going on here. If I can get this, it's stuck right in the top of his mouth. It's middle of winter like this, when everything gets slow, you can get some nice fish and you can have a good time in the water catching these northerns, because the northerns will stay aggressive pretty much all winter, so they're fairly easy to catch this time of year. And you know, without the snow, we haven't had any snow this year, so a lot of green weeds still, so they're still up shallow and pretty easy to find with some tip-ups and little scouting. Got here, we got that dead shiner like this. Now the key to this is you hook the shiner one way, you hook the little fathead the other way. And what it's going to do is it's going to try to fight each other, but they don't like being that close to each other. He's going to try to get away. You see him in the water, if you can see that. That little guy swimming is making that big dead minnow twitch, and it's going to shine, it's going to attract fish. Plus that smell is really going to attract these northerns in. Get this guy back down here. Get another one. I'm not very deep here. I'm about 7 or 8 feet of water. That's it. That's where these northerns are at. There's sunfish along this break, just out in a little bit of deeper water. There's a bunch of minnows down here. This is where they want to be.